Awesome. Here we are talking today, Curtis, you and I, about VMware lifecycle management using the Dell Private Cloud plugin. Tell me a little bit about what this plugin does.
So this Dell Private Cloud plugin is Dell's intellectual property that houses all the day two operations that are associated with uh, Dell Private Cloud, such as contacting support, being able to do LCM, being able to see the physical view of the environment, graphical representation of the environment, being able to click on various components within your nodes and seeing if there are any issues that need to have resolution.
Well, let's step through the demo here and let's see what this all looks like. So
Sure.
first, we see that we can browse right to updates here. We see the ESXi version was 80U3E, and we're going to update that. So tell me about what we're doing here.
So first off, we're looking at seeing what the installed versions are on the cluster. You see those versions, and basically what it told you is that you had an option to upgrade ESXi. When you look at that option to upgrade ESXi, if you were to continue down that path, you notice that that yellow box on the screen, that yellow box is telling you that this is an allowed upgrade, but it has not been validated by Dell. Now, this is a divergence, so to speak, from what we've done in other HCI solutions by allowing our customers to have drift in their cluster, the cluster upgrades. That drift allows our customers to apply day zero patching, and we keep watching the environment to ensure that even if they were to upgrade that to that version that has not yet been validated, when we then are provided with the latest and greatest from our engineering teams, and we put that in our recommendations file. That recommendations file is pushed out to the customers, or the customer can go up to the support site, download that, and you'll see that here in a minute. And then it will put this back into a compliant state. So what we're showcasing here first is, again, just talking about the ESXi version that can be upgraded to. You see the yellow box there saying that it is allowed but not yet been validated. And we're just going to start to go down this process, but we're going to hit cancel. It was just to showcase that it can be done.
Got it. Got it. I think we actually did. Do we not? That's right. We just stepped out of this at this time.
Yes.
Well, we did the quick upgrade advisor just to understand what was possible.
Yep.
Yeah. This tells you all the details about what could happen if we actually ran it right now.
It tells you your current versions, your target versions. It tells you if anything needs to have anything that's going to be upgraded requires a reboot. It tells you how long the process will take, etc.
All right. So now here's the example of the 0-day patch and update. So we're actually going to install that update, correct?
We're gonna go down the pathway to install that update, but we're not actually going to install that update.
Okay.
This is just to showcase that, hey, it can be done. As what you see here on the screen, you have the blue section and it's got a gray check mark next to it. That gray check mark says that you have selected the ESXi upgrade. That is the version that you're trying to go to, and it does not show anything else on the screen. It does not show you any other components that are required as part of that upgrade.
That's right. That's where
So
we hit cancel on that one. That's exactly
yes,
right.
we hit cancel, and then we're now coming back around, and we're going to upload files because we're not connected to the Dell support site. So we're going to pull down files from the Dell support site, first off, starting with that recommendations file that I talked about, which has all the combinations and permutations that are associated with what versions you can upgrade to and what works with what.
So
So the
this is
first thing,
maybe a disconnected type process, correct?
this
If we
is
had
100% a disconnected type process. Or actually, this is a partially connected process because the ESXi components are coming directly from Broadcom.
Okay. There
So
they
now
are
you're on the
there.
support site and
Yep.
you're looking for VMware components for Dell Private Cloud, and the component that you're probably going to pull down here is going to be the recommendations file. This will be the latest and greatest recommendations file. You're going to pull that down and install that file, and then we will go from there. So, yep, here you are downloading it right now. You go to the upload files tab and you have multiple options in here. You can choose from whether if you were completely offline, you can load your ESXi bundle versions that you want to apply. You can
Okay.
load recommendations file or the service data file. The service data bundle is our pre-checks, and ever so often we update our pre-checks to ensure that when we run an advisory report, the latest and greatest checks are applied to the environment to ensure that everything is ready to perform an upgrade.
Awesome. So now we're going to upload these recommendation files that we already downloaded.
Yep. And then the thing to note here is right after you upload that recommendations file, right in the middle, it should give you a new version where it says recommendations file version.
Mm-hmm.
It gave you a new version telling you that that's now the current version. When you come back to your updates, you're going to see that same ESXi bundle again, but this time there is no yellow box because you have the latest and greatest recommendations file. And that latest and greatest recommendations file says that this is a valid upgrade and it has been validated by Dell. So
Got
it's
it.
allowed and validated.
Got it.
So now, if we were to go and proceed with the install update, you'll notice that it is cross-referencing what's in that recommendations file with what version you're telling it that you want to upgrade to from ESXi. Now, you notice the first time we did this when we were just playing around and it was not validated by Dell, but it was an allowed upgrade, you only had one checkbox.
That's right. Yeah.
But now that we have the latest and greatest recommendations file, we know the combinations of things to ensure a known good state. And that those combinations include Dell hardware and the Dell extension piece.
This is actually a really nice way to do this demo to show kind of the different permutations of the ways you can do things with the 0 day or like this. So I'm glad we did it this way, 100%.
So now you notice all three checkboxes are there. You cannot uncheck anything because since you've now loaded the latest recommendations file, that latest recommendations file says, I'm going to take you back to a known good state. And that known good state requires these three components. It did it for you automatically, right? You didn't have to go and say, well, I don't know what version of the extension that I need, or I don't know what version of the Dell hardware that I need. It told you everything that's necessary, and then it lands you on the next page, which is how do you want to load these bundles? Do you want to load them through an online bundle download, or do you want to do a local bundle upload? So the online bundle download assumes that you have connectivity to Dell support and connectivity to Broadcom. In this case, we do not have connectivity to Dell support. So we're just going to go back out to the support site, the same way you got the recommendations file, and we're going to get the other files that are necessary. The
That's right.
files are listed right there on your screen.
Check the extension and the hardware and
Yep.
pull them down. Yep.
Pull them down, and then we're going to select those files from wherever you downloaded them to. We're going to select them both, and we're going to upload them. When it goes through that upload, it's going to upload the files, then it's going to stage the files, and it's going to start to ask you some more questions as to how you want to proceed. It takes a snapshot of the environment.
And there's
Okay.
that change report again.
Yes, that advisory report gets run every time you get ready to run an update. So you can run an advisory report whenever you feel you want to understand what's going on with the environment, or there are upgrades, so that you can see if anything in the environment needs to be altered or changed prior to your maintenance window. Maybe some customers have a maintenance window that they have to adhere to. They don't want to have any gotchas pop up while they're trying to do the upgrade. So you can run the advisory report, remediate anything in the environment needs to be remediated, then come back later and run the update.
All right. Well, we're ready. We're going to do the update.
Sure. Let's go ahead and kick it off. Since you're already logged into vCenter, it doesn't need the credentials. If you were logged in as some other user, you would have to authenticate with the appropriate credentials.
Says a really long time there, Curtis. I don't think we've ever seen it take that long,
So
5 hours.
it's funny. It's funny that's in there. So that's a worst case scenario. It puts in some expanded time in there. This upgrade, depending on the number of nodes that you have, can take about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. The more nodes you have, you can tack on approximately 20 or 30 minutes per node additionally.
That's because the
So
rebooting, right? We got to drain
yes,
everything and rehydrate. Yep. Okay.
and it's got to remediate and install all the necessary components on each node accordingly.
All the monitoring is here. It's super great. We can read it all, see what's going on. And of course, we did fast forward this for demo purposes.
Of course. I mean, this is a long process, right? So once this is done, and we just ran through it, the beauty of modern technology, right? We made it super fast. This was a 2.5 hour upgrade that we just did in about 30 seconds. So that was
Right.
beautiful. And when you're finished, you get the information that says the cluster has been updated. And then you hit the word finish. And then you'll notice across the top of your screen after you hit finish, that the rest of the environment and the versions have all now been updated accordingly.
So
So
there's
you
the
can see on the
bottom
bottom
one there,
half,
right?
yes, in the bottom half you have the versions for before the upgrade, and then above is the actual screen of the outcome of the upgrade.
Perfect. That's nice. It's good to see. Nice to superimpose that there, and that kind of makes it
Yeah,
all real.
when you excuse me, when you look at this environment or any customer environment, the level of flexibility that we've provided, while at the same time maintaining the easy approach to being able to perform the upgrades, is huge in our space. When we come from an HCI space, everything was provided in a singular bundle, but then many of our customers complained that they wanted or needed to apply day zero patching. Well, when everything is provided in a bundle, it's built, tested, and engineered in a bundle. You now have to wait until we get the hot fix. We perform the testing and everything together. 99.9% of the time it works, and it works well, but we still have to go through that approach, and then we send that out to the customer. In this case here, our customers have the option, if they need to apply that day zero patch, they can. They need to um, apply the day zero patch, but not because of maintenance windows or because of whatever other reason. They got some other version and they don't want to apply the Dell private cloud versions at that time. As long as it's not grayed out, they can deselect that and come back to those pieces at a later date. So ultimate flexibility, while at the same time providing with the ultimate ease of operation.
That's awesome. Well, I think we captured it. I appreciate you all the detail you gave there. This is great. It's going to go a long way helping our customers succeed here using VMware Dell Private Cloud.
Well, thank you. Thanks for
This is
having me
awesome.
on.
Thanks, Curtis. Appreciate it.